Hi, I'm Frank Scruggs, the frustrated inventor of practical solar. I want to tell you about some of the difficulties I ran into bringing this idea to the surface. First, practical solar is a way to store heat in the ground and use it all winter. I think practical solar is the answer to our energy problems and global warming and financial inequity. But you would not believe the problems I've had bringing this to market. For example, do you know that it's against the law to put solar collectors on most homes in America because the zoning prohibits it? They think a good-looking house is more important than saving the planet. Okay, but that's a small thing. Here's something that should really shock you. Do you know that capitalism is illegal for the poor in America? Capitalism. Now, what I mean by capitalism, I mean if I create a company and trying to sell shares to you, if you're not already a millionaire or an expert in your field, you cannot buy these shares unless it's a public offering. And a public offering costs like $2 or $3 million just to do all the paperwork. So there's no way that a small company can sell shares legally. You know, start a company, sell shares in the company, and have strangers invest in it. They're called the Blue Sky Laws, and they were enacted state by state in the 1930s to prevent fraud that was happening back then. People trying to sell the Brooklyn Bridge or non-existent oil wells and whatnot. And so they enacted these laws against capitalism, basically. They figured that the working people were too ignorant to be able to do the due diligence to figure out whether this is a good investment or not. And so instead of just protecting the people by not letting them put their whole life savings in it or some other means like that, they just said, no, you can't have it. And but they'll let grandma buy lottery tickets, which is almost a guaranteed loser. That's frustrating. That's really frustrating. There's a development in energy called a geothermal groundwater heat pump. The groundwater heat pump takes water out of one well, runs it through a mechanism in the house that extracts heat out of it, heats the home, and deposits the water back in a different well. These were outlawed in America to a large extent by eliminating the ability to discharge water to a well. You have to get special permits and do special studies to make sure you're not polluting, and these studies cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's no way an individual homeowner, well, there's not no way, but it's very unlikely that he'll be able to do that. And it boggles my mind as why would they do that? But it comes down to this, is the groundwater heat pumps were a real practical way to reduce our energy usage in America and to prevent the loss of business. It makes sense that the oil and gas companies, the home heating suppliers, didn't want this competition, so you just outlaw it. That's the way politics in America works. I am so frustrated trying to bring practical solar to market because we have all these impediments. Inability to raise money. Once we do, inability to get permits to put it on a house. that I've racked my brain for a solution. What I've come up with is something I call a consumers union. The only way to force our will and get what we need to survive is to bind together. And so what I propose is something I call a consumers union. We form a group designed for the purpose of secure the blessings of liberty to the majority. The Constitution says that its purpose, and I think it's in the preamble, is to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. But the wealthiest in America have secured the blessings of liberty for themselves and cut us off. So what I'm talking about is joining together for our good to secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves. So we can bring up legislation to rewrite these blue sky laws to allow capitalism back to the working class people, to bring up to have political power. The consumers union binding together we could hire lawyers to fight unjust rules that prevent energy systems and houses on a county by county and city by city basis. We can provide for ourselves other things. As a group, we could care for each other and not need insurance. For example, our medical is 3 times more expensive in America than it is anywhere else in the country, and we get about the worst service of any civilized country. And the reason for that is the greed at the top. If we bind together, we can provide ourselves health care without having health insurance. That's a biggie. Well, if you're interested in this, if this sounds like something that you would want to get involved with, email me at the number here and just give me your name and address or name and contact information. And when we set up this consumers union, we'll invite you to participate. If somebody would join a consumers union like this, they could buy stock in new startup companies that in such a way we would create jobs by the dozen. The practical solar, the project that I started with here, will cost maybe $250,000 to get started, and should make 100,000 jobs. That's just a couple dollars to invest per job, and that's how easy that capitalism in the hands of the working class can create jobs. If you believe in capitalism for the working class, contact me and we'll get together and start this thing. So let's say you join this club, and let's say the club costs $10 a week to get started. You'd be investing in law that would change the tax structure. For example, we would strive to fix the tax laws so that they are fair for the majority. If the tax laws are fair for the majority, that means the bottom half would pay very little taxes at all, and the winners in society who can afford to do this, I mean, who are not taking money out of their children's, college fund to pay for wars overseas. Anyway, if the American people would vote for their own interests instead of for the being beguiled into voting for the interests of the corporations, this would be a wonderful place. Do you know that the standard of living for the median person in America has gone down, but the average income has gone up, and the gross national product goes up, but everybody makes less and less money. It's because a smaller group of people make it all at the top. And the only way that we can stop that is to participate. And the only way to participate is to deal ourselves in. And the only way to deal ourselves in is to play the game. The game is, right now, we have to bribe politicians to do their job and represent us. And that's part of what the Consumers Union will do. We will bribe politicians to represent the people. Is that so hard? Anyway, if you're interested, contact me at this number. Thank you.